Can you imagine a world without the classic taste of Coca Cola? It's difficult to believe, but when the new Coke was released in 1985, it almost actually happened. Don't fix something that isn't broken. The wise saying seems to be the takeaway from Coca Cola's disastrous new Coke launch, except that year, Coca Cola actually believed that its iconic brand was broken. Even though Coca-Cola continued to be the most popular soft drink in the world, rival Pepsi-Cola gained market share in the 1970s and the beginning of the 1980s, in part because of its aggressive Pepsi Challenge campaign, which surprised consumers by having them prefer Pepsi after they took blind taste tests. Internal taste testing produced the same results, shocking Coca-Cola. Executives of the company came to believe that the flavor of their soda, not their rivals' marketing campaigns aimed at the Pepsi generation, was to blame for their market share loss. Coca-Cola has undergone a number of changes since its debut in 1886, such as switching from cane sugar to beet sugar to corn syrup, yet its flavor has stayed consistent. In top-secret taste testing conducted while the business was creating the novel Diet Coke recipe, which was launched in 1982, it was discovered that a sweeter variation of the mixture outperformed both Pepsi and the original Coke. The executives made the hazardous change. At a press conference held at New York City's Lincoln Center on April 23, 1985, Coca-Cola Company Chairman and CEO Roberto Goizueta introduced the new formula, describing it as having a more harmonic flavor and being smoother, rounder, yet bolder. But, the media revealed what Goizueta refused to acknowledge: the new Coke tasted sweeter and more similar to Pepsi. The Lincoln Center production would have been tragic for die-hard supporters of Coke's original formula if it had been an opera. Coca-Cola discontinued its 99-year-old classic recipe and locked Formula 7X away in an Atlanta bank vault with the goal that it never again see the light of day rather than splitting its market share between two sugar sodas. According to Goizueta, some may call this the most audacious single marketing initiative in the history of the packaged goods industry. We just refer to it as the safest move ever made. I've never been as sure about a decision as I am about the one we're announcing today, said Coca-Cola President Donald Keough. The news was already starting to fall flat as Goizueta and Keough shared cans of new Coke. Shares of Coca-Cola decreased on the New York Stock Exchange while those of its competitor increased. In full-page newspaper advertising boasting, after 87 years of going at it eyeball to eyeball, the other guy merely blinked. Pepsi gave its staff the day off and declared victory. The company's devoted fans were left with a sour taste in their mouths by new Coke. After the announcement, the business started receiving 5,000 irate phone calls per day. By June, that volume had increased to 8,000 calls per day, necessitating the hiring of additional operators. "I don't think I'd be more furious if you were to burn the flag in our front yard," one disgruntled drinker wrote to business headquarters. At demonstrations organized by grassroots organizations like Old Cola Drinkers of America, customers dumped the contents of new Coke bottles down sewer drains. One Seattle customer even sued the business to get it to keep selling the outdated beverage. Several members of the thirsty crowd started collecting the original Coke out of concern that they wouldn't ever get it again. The Coca-Cola Company reported that a man in San Antonio, Texas, drove to a local bottler and purchased $1,000 worth of Coca-Cola, and that protest groups, like the Society for the Preservation of the Real Thing and Old Cola Drinkers of America, popped up across the nation. Executives at Coca-Cola were shocked by the outrage. They hadn't exactly made a snap judgment devoid of facts. After all, they had subjected Americans and Canadians to 190,000 blind taste tests. The issue, though, is that the firm miscalculated the sentimental ties that devoted drinkers had to the brand. Its market research testers never questioned participants about how they would feel if the new formula took the place of the old one. On July 11, 1985, 79 days after their initial declaration, Coca-Cola officials convened another news conference to apologize and reveal that the original formula, which had barely had time to gather dust in its Atlanta bank vault, would now be sold under the name Coca-Cola Classic. "The consumer is our boss," Keough declared. "We want them to know how sorry we are, because the news was so significant." Television networks interrupted their regular programming to air special reports. Within a few months, Coca-Cola Classic had regained its status as the best-selling sugar cola, surpassing Pepsi, having quickly outsold new Coke. The new recipe was given the name Coke 2 by the corporation before being discontinued in 2002. Despite the negative publicity, Coca-Cola came out of the crisis with its market position enhanced as customers rediscover their loyalty to the venerable brand. Furthermore, Coca-Cola really reissued a very small quantity of new Coke in 2019. The plain fact is that all the time, money, and skill poured into consumer research on the new Coca-Cola could not measure or show the deep and enduring emotional tie to original Coca-Cola felt by so many people, said Keough. The error was so egregious that several people assumed it was a deliberate marketing ploy. Some cynics claim that the entire event was orchestrated, Keough stated. "The truth is, we're not really that stupid or intelligent. We have now reached the conclusion of our historical tour of new Coke. As we've seen, Coca Cola made the risky decision to alter the recipe for its well-known beverage in 1985, but it ultimately backfired. But the new cocktail is an intriguing one that illuminates the nuances of marketing, customer preferences, and brand loyalty. Even though it was only on the market for a short time, New Coke had a big impact on the beverage industry and is still spoken about by fans of soda. We appreciate you coming along on this adventure, and we hope you enjoyed learning about New Coke's past. Please use the comments box below to share any thoughts or inquiries you may have. For more videos like these, don't forget to like and subscribe.